Here is my men's movement poem. It's called Changing Diapers. It's for my youngest son. How intelligent he looks on his back, both feet caught in my one hand, his glance set sideways on a giant poster of Geronimo with a Sharps repeating rifle by his knee. I open, wipe, he doesn't even notice, nor do I. Baby legs and knees, toes like little peas, little wrinkles, good to eat, eyes bright, shiny ears, chest swelling, drawing air. No trouble, friend, you and me, and Geronimo are men. Little songs for Gaia, a few short poems that I did trying to work with the consciousness of the Gaia hypothesis in mind, the notion, the metaphor even, that all of the biosphere is one living organism that is somehow self-informing and is possibly quite ancient in that way. The Manzanita succession story. Shady lady makes the boys turn gray. Now that's a one semester course in forest ecology. Namely, after the forest fire knocks everything out, the Manzanita is the first succession plant, which is germinated by forest fire, and the Manzanita plants come in and grow more and more thickly, and then in the very fact of growing provide a shade shelter for pine seedlings to get started under them. And the pine seedlings then will grow eventually through the little Manzanita canopy and will make their own canopy, and then Manzanita, not being shade tolerant, will gradually die back when it gets too much shade on it, and the forest will then move toward being a pine forest again. But for about 80 years you'll have a kind of a skeleton, dead, gray Manzanita forest still standing before it finally falls down. So, Shady Lady makes the boys turn gray. As the cricket's soft autumn hum is to us, so are we to the trees, as are they to the rocks and the hills. Lou Welch gave me that poem. Lou and I were sitting out late at night one summer by a little campfire, and after quite a while of silence, Lou said to me something like, Gary, do you think the rocks pay any attention to the trees? And I said, I don't know, Lou, what are you driving at? And he said, well, the trees are just passing through. As the cricket's soft autumn hum is to us, so are we to the trees, as are they to the rocks and the hills. Little poem for the earth goddess. Hers was not a sheath, it was a quiver. Wendell Berry said to me when he saw that, Gary, that little poem does me a world of good. And another one. I am sorry I disturbed you. I broke into your house last night to use the library. There were some things I had to look up. A large book fell, knocked over others. Afraid you'd wake and find me and be truly alarmed, I left without picking up. I got your name from the mailbox as I fled to write you and explain. This is, where am I now? I'm still in the Turtle Island, I guess. I'm losing my connection. No, this is from axe handles. We're in the axe handle cycle of poems now. Dillingham, Alaska, the Willow Tree Bar. Anybody here worked salmon in Bristol Bay? That's where most of the salmon in the world come from. Usually I find somebody in the audience who has worked in Bristol Bay. Dillingham is a little town off of Bristol Bay. Dillingham, Alaska, the Willow Tree Bar. Drills chatter full of mud and compressed air all across the globe. Low-ceilinged bars, we hear the same, new songs. All the new songs in the working bars of the world. After you've done Drive Cat, after the truck went home. Caribou slip, front legs folded first, under the warm oil pipeline, set 4 feet off the ground. On the wood floor, glass in hand, laugh and cuss with somebody else's wife. Texans, Hawaiians, Eskimos, Filipinos, workers always on the edge of a brawl in the bars of the world, hearing those same new songs in Abadan, Naples, Galveston, Darwin, Fairbanks, drinking it down, the pain of the work of wrecking the world. I'm going to finish up this evening with a few recent poems from the last section of this. I'll put this one in first, though, from Left Out in the Rain. How Zen masters are like mature herring. So few become full grown, and how necessary all the others. Gifts to the food chain, feeding another universe. These big ones feed sharks. We get the feedback out of that? Yeah. So, newer poems. Here's a little one. How poetry comes to me. It comes blundering over the boulders at night. It stays frightened outside the range of my campfire. I go to meet it at the edge of the light. And for those of you who remember that there was a novel called The Dharma Bums once, and there is a little episode in there about of climbing a mountain that is actually called the Matterhorn. Probably more properly called the Sierra Matterhorn. It's over on the east side near, what's that little town it's near? Twin Lakes, Bridgeport. It's over near Bridgeport. So a few years ago, some friends of mine from the Northern Valley rounded me up and we went down there and climbed it again. And I can say it's not getting any easier. So this was composed on the summit. And it's called On Climbing the Sierra Matterhorn Again After 31 Years. Range after range of mountains, year after year after year, I am still in love.